is the 24-70, the perfect lens when it comes to automotive photography. In this episode, we're gonna be talking about some things about the pros and the cons about this lens. So first off, I have the Sigma 24-70 2.8 attached to a Sony a7 III. This is what I have been shooting on for the past year, and this is gonna be my full review about this lens. So let's go ahead and talk about the range when it comes to this lens. It is amazing for anything that you want to shoot wide or anything you want to shoot up narrow and close to. For me, this lens has not left my camera since the day I got it. That's how much I enjoy it, that's how much I love it. Here in a second, I'm going to be attaching the GoPro to myself, and I'm going to show you the different focal lengths that you can get with this lens. All right, so I threw on this funny looking thing, and right now I'm gonna give you a POV photography video so I can show you the different focal lengths that you can achieve with this lens, and you can see firsthand exactly what I'm doing and how far my focal length is. All right, so like I mentioned before, I'm shooting on the Sony a7 III with a Sigma 24-70 lens with a circular polarizer attached to it so I can cut off all those glares. I'm going to be shooting both sideways and up and down so I can post some to Instagram as well as post some to here on YouTube for you guys to see. So right now I'm going to show you the differences with this lens between the 24, the 35, 50, and 70. I'm going to take all the photos in the same spot. I'm not going to move. So first one, we're going to take the photo with the 24. Now we're going to zoom into the 35. Now we're going to zoom into the 50. Now we're going to zoom all the way into the 70. And you can see the difference between those shots, how much it compresses it in. Now, one thing to note with this lens too, it is a bit on the heavier side. That is just something that I feel like I get used to eventually. I know a lot of people complain about this lens being heavy. For me, it's not that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and get a sideways shot. Right now I'm at 24 mil. Now I'm at 35. Now I'm at 50. And now I'm at 70. And with those shots right there, you can really see the difference between the different focal lengths about how wide and how compressed in you can get with these shots. So I'm just gonna switch over to this side real quick. So we're gonna kneel down, get nice and low. So right now I'm all the way out at 24. Now I'm at 35, 50, and 70. See, for that last shot, I probably could have scooted back a little bit more because of how much this lens actually zooms in. One thing I really love about this lens is you do have the ability to go super wide. Right now, I'm not standing that far from the car. And then I can go ahead and walk over here, zoom all the way to the 70 to get a nice detailed shot of the wheel. All with one lens. That is what is amazing about this lens, and I absolutely love that I can do that. Okay, so I'm pretty much done shooting out here, getting all the different focal lengths and everything. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in the studio, and I'm gonna give you some more pros and cons when it comes to this lens. Okay, so welcome to my studio. That being said, let's go ahead and dive into a little bit more of a technical look about the pros and the cons of the 24-70 lens. So let's go ahead and start with the price point of this lens. Currently, at the time this video is being filmed in the United States, this lens is gonna run you about $1,000, which in my opinion, that is a great price for this lens because it is crazy sharp, it is fast, and you do have the versatility of twisting it from a 24 to a 70 lens. So it's like you're getting all those lenses inside of this for $1,000, which if you guys looked at lenses, you know that any other lens could cost you upwards of $12 to $18, some even $2,000 depending on the type of lens that you get. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the weight of this lens. I know that earlier I had said that the weight of the lens doesn't really affect me a whole lot. I'm gonna kind of refine what I said. Now this lens does come in at weighing 1.84 pounds, so just shy of 2 pounds, which when you're holding in your hand doesn't really seem a whole lot, but if you add the weight of your camera and you have a strap on the back of your neck all day, you will feel it. Especially if you've been shooting for a couple hours, at the end of the day, you're gonna feel it at the back of your neck. A quick comparison for how much this lens actually weighs. The Sony 50mm lens weighs 5.56 ounces compared to the 24-70 Sigma, which is a whopping 1.82 pounds, which is quite a bit of a difference, but I mean, look at the size difference in these lenses. And you gotta also remember, this is basically like having 4 different lenses combined into one, where this prime lens is just one lens. Another thing that might be a downside to this lens, especially if you're shooting a lot of low light photography, is the fact that this lens is a 2.8 f-stop or aperture. So you're gonna have to bump up your ISO a little bit more, and you're gonna have to worry a little bit more about getting noise in your photos. So if you're definitely worried about noise in your photos, I might suggest getting a prime with a lower f-stop so you can shoot in lower light settings. Although this lens is amazing and is great for videos, one thing I feel like I should really note is if you are putting this lens on a gimbal, it might be perfectly straight and balanced for you, and you want to change the focal length of your lens by zooming it out or in, it will throw off the balance of the gimbal because it is not balanced at the original settings that you had put it on. For example, I currently have my gimbal balanced to support the camera lens being at 24 millimeters. But if I were to zoom it out to 70, watch, I'm gonna let go. Do you see that? And the reason it's doing that is because it is extending a lot more of the weight out instead of being where I had originally balanced the camera at. So that is another thing that you do want to be mindful of when you're shooting on a gimbal. Anytime you adjust it, it is going to affect the balance of the camera on your gimbal. So who is this lens actually for? So this lens is for the person that wants to see the different focal lengths, but doesn't want to spend the money on a prime lens or be stuck at one focal length. So if you wanted to try the 24, the 35, 50, or the 70, and you're confused on which one to go with, buying this lens is a great alternative because then you can test out each one and then make your decision to buy the prime lens. This lens is also great for beginners and experts for that reason. The ability to give you different focal length is amazing and awesome, especially for this price point with how sharp and how fast this lens is. But at the end of the day, is this lens really worth it? Is this lens really worth $1,000? In my opinion, absolutely. It has not left my camera since the day I bought it, except for maybe my 50mm just to get those really crisp photos and backgrounds all nice and blurry for my portraits. But everything else I have used this photo for. I have used this lens for automotive. I have used it for portraits, interviews, filming, zooming in, birds, nature, dogs, whatever it is. I have used this lens for everything, and I have been so happy with all the results. So with that being said, hopefully I was kind of able to help you decide on whether to purchase this lens or not. If you have any questions at all regarding this lens, please put them in the comment section below. And while you're at it, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm going to be doing all kinds of product reviews, photography tips, automotive tips, and everything photography and videography related. So I'll see you guys in the next video.